Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many different twists and turns, as well as surprises in this film by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one great thing about this movie that a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing is, of course, exactly what J.J. Abrams is going to do with the characters of Luke, Han Solo, Kylo Ren, Rey, Leia, Lando, you name it. This movie is actually said to have the most characters out of every single Star Wars movie to date, as well as the most planets out of every single Star Wars film, which really tells us that this movie is going to be a big film and has the potential of being the longest Star Wars movie in history. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting and intriguing for this film. Now, specifically, a description of Rey, Finn, and Poe on board of the Millennium Falcon, where it's described that Rey is piloting the Millennium Falcon to a jungle world. It's said that the Falcon eventually lands where Poe, Finn, and Chewbacca step out, leaving Rey alone on the Falcon. The next describes Rey listening to a transmission of Han Solo, where it's described that Han Solo reveals a certain truth about Luke, that Rey discovers where it's explained that Han kept a log of his thoughts during hard times, revealing many things about the past, where one of them describes that Luke discovered the Jedi Temple that has been around for ages. It has been around for 1,000 years. It's revealed by Han in the transmission that reveals that Luke brought Ben to an ancient training temple and kept the temple's location a secret from anybody except for Han and Leia to protect it. It's described that some of his students originated in the unknown regions, from a planet that held many Force sensitives. The last describes Rey turning off the transmission, where Poe and Finn are calling for Rey, as Rey steps out, and it's described that they see an exotic city in the distance. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this. For the longest time, a lot of people have been wondering, did Luke Skywalker build the temple? Has the temple been there for a very long time? What's the deal? Now, basically, this transmission of Han Solo that Rey comes across reveals that secret about Luke, that this actual Jedi temple was built 1,000 years ago, most likely during the ancient Jedi era. Now, we do know that the ancient Jedi will be explained in great detail in this movie through various pieces of Jedi lore. But what's intriguing about the Jedi Temple that we do get to see in The Last Jedi is that we only got a brief glimpse of it, but now we do know that this is actually a temple that was built many years ago and was not built by Luke Skywalker himself. I think it caused a little bit of confusion because in The Last Jedi, Luke says to Rey, he says, I started a training temple. And it left a lot of people wondering, did he build the temple? Did he just come across the temple? Well, now it turns out that he just came across the temple and started his own Jedi Order. Now, what's really interesting has all to do with his students. Now, in this transmission by Han Solo, it's revealed that Luke Skywalker, at least some of his students, originated in the unknown regions from a planet that actually held a lot of Force-sensitive individuals. So, once again, this kind of dives directly into the EU, where one of the worlds actually had a lot of Force-sensitive individuals. And you can really see what they're trying to do with this movie in order to really tell a greater story about Luke Skywalker, to continue his legacy and kind of just inform the audience a little bit more about his past and what's really going on with the film. So the other piece that I do want to go over is that Luke Skywalker also kept the location of his Jedi Temple, the exact location, like the planet itself, a big secret aside from Han and Leia. They were exceptions, right? So, other than Han and Leia, nobody else knew about the location of this Jedi Temple. However, that's exactly how Luke Skywalker and his Jedi Temple got destroyed, because Kylo Ren was able to turn to the dark side of the Force and burning it all down with his ex-Jedi students. So, with this movie, we do know that Episode 9 is going to answer a lot of different questions, not just questions that originated with The Force Awakens, but other questions based within, of course, The Last Jedi that will be answered in Episode 9. So this tells us right then and there that this movie really is going to continue the Skywalker legacy. It's going to tell more stories about Luke Skywalker through other characters like Han Solo, Leia, and even Lando Calrissian, as well as the Dark Prince in this movie, also known as Octavius. So, like I say, guys, we do know that this film really has a lot to offer. I think that when we look at a Star Wars movie, this by far is the most important one in the past 5 years. It really is. because when we look at Star Wars Episode 9, this movie really does determine the future of the franchise. If you look at what happened with Solo: A Star Wars Story in the box office results, just because of that, you know, they changed their entire format of how they would release Star Wars movies and how many they would release, and their entire plan for the next 10 years have actually changed. So, with that being said, like I say, this movie is very important, and it's going to answer a lot of those questions. A lot of secrets will be told through various characters of other characters in this movie, which I think is going to make it entertaining, and it's going to really make us kind of just look at this movie as a revelation film, which is kind of great, because this really is the culmination of the Skywalker saga. As JJ said, this is not necessarily just an ending to the sequel trilogy, it's an ending to all 8 movies that come before it. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.